In tonight's Political Insider, Donald Trump's new finance guru. Over the past few weeks, the presumptive Republican nominee has added big names to his campaign team, like Paul Manafort, Rick Wiley, and Ken McKay. Now, private investor Steve Mnuchin will serve as national finance chairman. Joining me with the latest is Dave Levinthal, senior political reporter at the Center for Public Integrity. Dave, tell us more about Mnuchin. Who is he, and what does he do professionally?
He's a longtime financier. He was with Goldman Sachs for about 17 years as a principal, as a partner, and now he's the leader, the CEO of a private investment firm, very successful. So he's somebody who, like Donald Trump, knows money, knows how to make it, and also knows how to spend it a little bit, too.
Now, you find that Mnuchin has a history of donating to both political parties. Tell me more about that.
Indeed. He's actually donated, when you look at federal records, to Democrats more than he has to Republicans, which of course the irony there is that he's now the national finance chairperson for the presumptive Republican nominee. So he's somebody who has not only donated to Hillary Clinton, who Donald Trump of course is running against, but Al Gore and Barack Obama and John Kerry and several other prominent Democrats who've benefited from Steve Mnuchin, from Mnuchin's money. So as a result, there's going to be a little bit of tension there, and certainly some slings and arrows you can expect from Democrats saying, hey, the guy who's running Donald Trump's money machine for his campaign, he's a guy who loves Democrats. So what's the problem there?
All right, he also has professional ties to George Soros. Why is that important?
He does. Another layer of irony here in the sense that he worked for in a executive capacity companies that George Soros is behind or owns. And George Soros, if you don't know him as a household name, he's somebody who is one of the top financiers for Democrats for years and years and years. The Democrats always love to hold up the Koch brothers as sort of the boogeymen on the right. Well, yeah. Republicans love to hold up George Soros on the left as the Democratic boogeyman, if you will, Morris. So as a result, his ties to George Soros are absolutely going to come into question and already have. It's something that some Republicans are very disquieted by, that Donald Trump, who himself has donated to a lot of Democrats over the years, not now, but in the past, is putting and installing somebody as his chief fundraiser, a guy who has these ties to Democrats, and not just ones nobody knows, but some of the most prominent ones in American politics yesteryear and today.
Well, let's delve into that. What does this hire say about the candidate himself?
It says on one hand that he's going to open himself up to a lot of criticism, of course, from Democrats. But I bet you're going to hear a lot going forward when he does get questions, when Trump gets questions about this decision, about his own donations to Democrats. He'll say, look, I'm a different kind of candidate. I'm a different kind of Republican. I'm a businessman. These donations were done for wheeling and dealing. They were done for business forefront in mind. And as a result, hey, maybe we have an opportunity here to appeal to Democrats, to appeal to independents. I'm not just some rock-rip Republican who is just going to be straight R's, straight to the right all the time. I'm somebody who can appeal to other types of folks that I'm going to need as a candidate on the Republican side in order to beat Hillary Clinton.
Now, Trump isn't the only candidate gearing up for an expensive general election. A super PAC backing Hillary Clinton will reserve more than $5 million for fall advertising. That brings the group's general election ad plans to a staggering $130 million. Now, Dave, put that into context for us.
And that $130 million figure, Morris, is probably conservative at this point. They may spend a lot more by the end. The overall takeaway here, Morris, is that the Clinton money machine itself is massive. This is one super PAC, Priorities USA Action is the name, among several that the Clinton operation has benefiting it during not only the general election cycle, but even during the current primary election that's still going on right now. So as a result, there's going to be a whole lot of cash that they can bring to bear to attack Donald Trump, to go after him in every which way that they possibly can. And already right now, just this week, Correct the Record, another super PAC, is out with a stinging digital advertisement, not running on television, but running on digital outlets and the internet, just tearing Donald Trump down every which way to the election day about his respect for women. So this is just a preview, Morris, of what we're going to see to come.
How can Trump compete? Because early on he said he wouldn't take other people's money. No super PACs, nothing like that. What's he going to do?
And initially that was true, but as the primary election went on, he did take money from people who were giving him oftentimes small amounts of money, $100, $200, $50, $10,
He needs
and whatnot.
millions, though, now.
He does, and he's going to do a couple of things very quickly. Number one, he's going to rely on the Republican Party to give him help, staffing help, resource help, everything that a party structure can do to benefit a general election candidate. Also, too, he does have super PACs that have been set up that are going to support him, these groups that can raise and spend unlimited amounts of money. So even though he's like to disavow them up to today, don't be surprised if he kind of quietly lets them operate and do their thing. And of course, Donald Trump is his own super PAC by virtue of the fact that he has billions of his own dollars, which he is putting, at least up to this point, several tens of millions into his own election campaign. The question there is, how much is he going to rely on his own wealth versus all these other revenue streams that he can rely on ultimately during the general election?
Always good to get your insight. Dave Levinthal, senior political reporter at the Center for Public Integrity. Thanks, Dave.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Morris.